And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. It's Radio FreakJam, and I'm here joined by Drew. Drew Lowe, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Hello. Good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. I better turn that off. Just my audio check quickly. Make sure.
Love the intro. It was great. I wasn't expecting
That's Josh and Oggy.
Oh, cool.
You know Josh, obviously.
Yeah.
I do believe you used to rehearse down at his studio with Inglorious a couple of times over in Tilehurst.
Probably then. Yeah, probably. No, it might not have been my time in the band. I don't know.
You definitely. I'm sure you do know him. I'm sure you do know him because obviously you're here because we've met down at Bumble's.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And you've been down to the jam night and you've come and joined us and you've got up and played some guitar with your lovely lady wife Kate.
Yeah. Yeah, she's always dragging me down to these things. Mind you, saying that, we haven't done them for. I know they've not been on for a long time, but even before that, like we sort of, because Kate does a lot of martial arts now, and she sort of that kind of took over, and she couldn't do. There was like a moose jam on the Friday. Do you remember that?
I do remember the Moose Jam, and Richard Carr is in the chat room saying hello all from Moose Central.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. I think kind of karate sort of took over her life, even though she kind of absolutely loves the moose. She absolutely loved it. So, but the martial arts. But I think she wants to kind of do that again.
My wife is currently out kickboxing.
Yeah, Kate does that too. She does it. Oh, I wouldn't want to start a fight with her.
No, I think that's why they do it, so we don't start fights with them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Got their head screwed on. Yeah. Maybe we need to go and train together, Drew. Sort of get some weights out and have a montage.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
So cheers to everyone out there in the chat room. Nice for everyone to join us. And we've got Christine, we've got Gillian, we've got Aslan, we've got Richard Carr, we've got Sean, we've got Tim, and a few people lurking. It's nice to see you. So we're going to have a chat with Drew. Drew's in a band called Just a Ride. Yes. Drew's also played with Inglorious. And you're currently going to play with Boy George.
Culture Club. Yeah. Culture Club, that's coming up, yeah.
So let's start at the beginning then. So give us a quick bit about you.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's it.
What? Where from? Where do you want to start? How long have we got?
We got an hour, so it's all good. Wherever you feel is important, where did it all start for you?
What, when did my career start? When did guitar playing start?
Yeah, guitar playing. That's when your career started, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah. When did I start earning money? Or when did I? Yeah. 1990, Christmas 1990. My parents bought me a guitar, and that was it. And my older brother plays the drums, and his mate used to come over and play guitar, called Ben, and that was it. I was in.
So you had an instant band.
Well, yeah, me and my brother used to write. We used to write songs and stuff together. It was quite nice.
So what, did the band have a name? Is there any hidden demos out there that people were really going to want to hear?
No, unfortunately not. There is, but I can't play those. Bloody hell. Yeah, they were like, we did an album with my brother when I was a kid called The First End. There's a cassette of it somewhere. So.
Oh, cassette. Do you know what? I dug out some cassettes over lockdown and I actually ripped off some of the music that we sort of done back when it was only available on cassette, and it was not bad for its time.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, we used to love doing all that. Yeah, making cassettes and writing songs and stuff like that. And
was it a gigging band or was it just a garage band?
Oh, I was like 6 years old at that point. So
right.
It wasn't really a band, was it?
Well, 6 years old, you got to dig those out and get those out when available, man. That would be cool. So, all right. So, when did the gigging start? Sort of.
12.
Wow.
I was 12 years old. Yeah. It was quite. It was quite in. Like I was 12 years old, and that was it. I was in. I met a drummer when I was at school, and he basically was like, "Oh yeah, cool." I was really fortunate. Met this drummer, and we got on really well, and just fantastic, just absolutely fantastic. I was so lucky, really, that I met this drummer, Jamie.
And was it original stuff, or was it covers, or
covers to start with? We started to try and write our own stuff, but didn't really get anywhere, But we started to do some really cool things like battle the bands and just cool stuff like that, Just we really played. We really really cut our teeth, if that makes sense. Like we
Yeah.
really together. We were chatting about it was a stag do on Saturday, and we went out and we were chatting about it all night. Like how there was like a connection with like. Do you remember the band called the Little Angels?
Yes, Toby
Little
Jepson.
Angels? Yeah, Toby Jepson. Um, and there was a connection there with the drummer Mark Richardson.
Right.
We was friends with a chap in town, and yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and it was all kind of we all had a great time in the night. It was mid-90s, so we were playing like everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. And I was like 12 years old and not really realizing, like, you just don't. You just think, oh, this is normal. But
Yeah.
it's not, because 12-year-olds don't do that, do they? But we're like playing all the bars at like 12 years old, and probably some of the best times of my life, to be honest. Like everyone says, I know everyone sort of goes, it's better when you're just like a kid and just doing it for fun. But it really is. Now I'm sort of a bit older and sort of reflective and stuff like that. You look back and you're like, wow, that was fun.
It's not a job then, is it? It's a hobby, and then it
should
turns
never
into
be
a job.
That's the thing. But as soon as you stop with dollar signs in front of it and the things
This is
like that,
it.
it just becomes that, sort of, yeah, it's a bit strange that when it becomes that, not knocking that is like, that's the dream, isn't it? But
Of course
at
it
the
is.
same time, yeah, but at the same time, there's like, you have to keep that part of you, that 15-year-old, like I know it's stupid, but that
It's
enjoyment.
not. It's not. It's
Otherwise,
not at all.
if you don't, it's like, why do it? Like, why? But unfortunately, I know people like that, and it's just, everyone's got to pay their bills, got to pay the mortgage, but there's a point where it's like, I don't even like this anymore,
I mean, I always say to anyone doing music, if you're not having fun doing it, it's
Don't
time
do
to
it.
give up. Yeah, it's
You
time
don't
to give up.
have to have fun doing it. Like, there's this pressure sometimes to be like, oh, I have to love doing what I do, and it's like it doesn't always work that way.
We were chatting about things earlier, weren't we? And obviously, we'll get to playing some music in a bit. But obviously, you got Just a Ride, and it is very much more about what you want to play,
exactly,
than what you've been paid to play in the past.
Yes, and that's the difference, because there's a point for every musician where it's like, it's just like creative outlet. You can't, all the session stuff I do. It's I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. You have to do that to fund the things you want to do.
It's your bread and butter money.
Just the Ride is like, it was my kind of brainchild, if you want to call it that. I was just a bit kind of like, well, what is it I want to do? If I was to write an album, what would it be? If someone said you only get to write one album ever in your life, what would you do? And that'd be the last album you ever do. You think,
wow,
what would I do? And I think that's the way to approach every record you do, is to say, what is the, if you're going to write an album, what is the last album you would ever do? If you were to write one, you should approach every album like that. There's no point in just, it's weird. I should write this knowing that I'm never going to make one again. And then eventually what happens is you just make another one anyway. But it's just that, if you can't give your best and your all to that one record, just don't do it.
Because you're a massive fan of bands that I grew up with, like Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, and you're one of your personal favourites, Stone Temple Pilots, right?
Yeah, huge. And I didn't really discover them till later on. I kind of missed the grunge period because I was maybe a little bit young at the time. But I got an older brother, so he used to just pass me down all these CDs, and when he was kind of old enough for it, so he was like in his late teens, early 20s when it was all happening.
Right. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
38 now.
38. So I've got 7 years on
like
you.
12, 11. Not even that. I was still at junior school, really, like 10 when grunge came out, like properly in 92. So 9, actually. So it's like I went back to it and became a fan.
And what
late 90s.
What a great era to go back to and become a fan of, man.
Well, I sort of got into it late 90s because you start kind of going, oh, what's this band? Or what's this band? Or they sound like this band, Faith No More, or they sound like, it's like Incubus. My brother was always like, it just sounds like Faith No More. And I was like, does it? And you listen to Faith No More, and it's like, I don't know.
I don't know about Incubus and Faith No More. I mean, Mike Patton is
Similar voice,
kind of unique.
Similar Mike Patton style voice. It's that rapping, you know. But a lot of bands.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying with the sort of the sort of half-spoken, rappy sort of sung thing. Yeah, but band, you know, these are all bands I love, man. So you know, it's no surprise that the stuff you've sent me over already, I'm really enjoying.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's we're not rapping, but it's certainly you know, it's alternative melodic rock. You know, it's
like it should
heavy,
be.
Yeah. It's heavy, but it's melodic.
So tell me a quick bit about Cape Fear. This is going to be the first track we play. So you sent over.
Yeah, the only reason I sent that to you is because I thought I was going to play maybe an Inglorious track or something, but I couldn't find it on my computer, so I don't know where it is. But and I'll probably get told off or something for not being allowed to do it. You know, I don't know, some rubbish, some nonsense or something. So Cape Fear was, and I found it, and it was a band that I did when I was about 25, and it's probably my first professional production. You know, we went to a proper studio, big desk, and all that kind of stuff. And the singer now has started a band called Black Orchid Empire, and they're doing really well. It's called Paul, he's a really talented bloke.
Right.
And he runs a studio in London. I ended up joining this band with a friend of mine called Ben. There you go. So the connection is Ben was in the band with the singer of you know, Just a Ride,
right?
And yeah, no, it was great. It was cool, and we ended up sort of joining this band with this chap. We did this record, and it sort of came out really well. Like I remember it. I remember sort of it all, the production and sort of everything. It was an amazing experience. It was my first kind of like
proper recording
pro recording studio experience. Yeah, even though I've done like loads of recording studios before, it's always like in someone's bedroom or something, you know, or someone's John down the road in his, like, you know, studio, wherever it is. You know, it's always fun. But this was a really expensive record. You know, I didn't pay for it, but there was a sort of small label at the time run by the studio, and you know, we sort of used it, and it was great. We recorded it in Tetbury in the studio. It was incredible. We had with a producer called Greg Haver. He was Welsh, and he worked with an engineer called Clint Murphy, and they've both gone on to be quite successful, actually. So
awesome. Really, let's have a listen. So the track you sent me is over called Simple. So this is Simple by Cape Fear. Enjoy.
Another face to find. Believe the consequences with the ones you left behind. So simple, yeah, simple for you. Thinking is a waste of time. It's better just to act. Funny how it comes around and stabs you in the back. So simple, yeah, simple for you. Everyone that you left for dead is alive. your conscience calling. You had your time. You lost this fight. This is your conscience calling.
And that was Simple there by Cape Fear. Man, that sounds
You know what?
awesome.
I haven't listened to that in ages.
So much going on. All these different
string
parts.
section and everything.
That's really Eastern sort of sounding string section. And then at the end, it kind of goes
Yeah.
into a bit of an ELO fest.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it was such a long time ago now, but it was an amazing experience. You know, it was amazing. It was just like I remember just being like 25 and did this like wicked album. Like, I was just like,
It really does sound great. And I've got people in the chat room asking, is it available on Spotify?
I think it is, yeah, or iTunes. I think it's still there. I'll have to check with Paul, but it was definitely digital. Yeah, it was definitely digital release. And if you know, I've got a CD of it. It was released on CD, but it was such a long time ago. Like, we weren't really a big band or anything. It was just.
It's such a shame. You know, I mean, the one thing this time shown me, and we've had
always the
loads
way
of
though,
people-
isn't it? You know.
Yeah, we've heard some great music that people have never heard. It's amazing.
Yeah, mad, isn't it? There's plenty of that. I can tell you that. When I was younger, I used to think all great music was heard, and it's just not the truth. You know, there's so many bands just either get dropped or shelved, and it doesn't happen. You know.
Where do
But
you
they
stand
music.
on all this digital stuff? Then are you an advocate for this, or is it something you're still combating a bit? Or
Oh no, I'm an advocate for it because it's just moving forward, isn't it? That's just what it is. But it just needs to be legislated properly. You know.
and
The
paid
only
properly?
thing I don't like about it is the A&R kind of thing. It's like my mum could write a record and put it on Spotify.
Yes.
That's the only thing with it. I think if it was more of a legislated kind of A&R thing, you know what I mean by A&R, just like the filtration system.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by that.
It's amazing. It's one of those things. People used to complain bitterly about the music industry and how it was very controlling. And then the world opened up with the internet, and good bands couldn't get found amongst the shite that was being released.
That's the problem. Can't have it both ways. You know, you can't. It is what it is. You know, we wanted freedom. So we got that, and that's the cost.
Yeah.
So the cost of freedom is giving you music away for free.
It's an absolute minefield out there.
Into absolutely like, it's a bit like having every pub demo and you know, like when back in the day, like you'd literally just release music. It's like a 4-track CD and pass it around or sell it at gigs and stuff like that. It's like that, but all over Spotify.
It is.
You know.
It's immense how much music is available now. And don't get me wrong, there are some really good
I think
gems out there.
I think there's something like over 60,000 stuff like uploaded every day or something.
Is it
tracks.
really?
It's ridiculous because everyone just puts odd tracks up as well, and it's like it's just a strange thing. You know, it's a really strange thing.
It's a very new way of consuming. I mean, you're probably like me. You probably remember the days of saving your pocket money up, jumping on the bus to the local record shop, and buying a CD or an LP or a cassette, as it was. You know, now kids they don't get physical pocket money. They just download it.
Yeah, it's different. People look at music differently. You know, even if it went back to the old way, it wouldn't be consumed the same way because it's people just we're programmed differently. Even I am. Do you know what I mean? I don't buy CDs all the time anymore. Or out. I tell you what I do buy though, and try and do it is I buy vinyl.
Okay. What's your collection like?
It's getting bigger. I've been trying to buy. I tell you what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to buy up some of the albums that they're starting to release now, like re-release that were never released before, like albums. I don't know, just some of my favorite records, like replace some of my CD collection, but not old records, but like, well, they are old now, but like when it was in mid CD generation sort of time.
I've noticed places like Tesco's and stuff are selling a lot more classics like Nevermind and Rumours and some of the bigger albums. I'm
talking like, I don't know, just obscure ones, like again, like an Incubus record or something, just the ones that you would never think that would be on vinyl ever, because they were never released on vinyl. Are now available on vinyl, or some Pearl Jam records and things like that. And it's just nice to hear those songs. Sorry, going out of view there. Nice to hear those songs kind of on a vinyl player, and it's something I really like.
There is a quality to the sound of vinyl, and I know you get a bit of crackle, but it also brings a bit of warmth and a bit of depth to it. In my own personal opinion,
it rolls off at 15,000 hertz, doesn't it? Or
That's
something
right.
like that.
So
it's not visual. It's just like you haven't got. It just gives it the warmer edge, I guess. And actually, newer vinyls are nice. The 180 gram ones, the thicker ones.
Yeah,
because they have like a better bass response apparently, because they're deeper cut or something. I don't know.
I used to work at a place called Design League, designing sleeves for the EMI and people like that. But it's actually on the old EMI estate where they used to press all the vinyl in Hayes.
Oh, amazing! Cool.
And we watched them wheel all the old vinyl presses out one day, and then about a year later we watched them wheel them back in again because there was a demand and they were doing short runs and all that sort of stuff. So
it's great. It won't go back to what it was, but it's nostalgia. In a good way, it keeps the record sales up, and it keeps a bit of hope for like artists to be able to actually sell some records.
So does that mean we're going to see a Just a Ride vinyl?
Look, we've talked about this, and we have talked about it. We would like to. It's definitely, it really depends on who wants it, because the thing is, it's expensive to print up.
It bloody is.
And if we were going to do it, it would probably be quite a very limited run. And when I say limited, like about 10 copies. But you can't really do that. It'd have to be like about 100 copies or something. But
yeah, because I mean, just the cost of the master itself, the glass master that makes the vinyl, is very expensive.
Yeah, like really, really expensive. But it's worth doing. And other ways you can do it is, if you've got a big enough fan base, is you can, what's the word?
Crowdfund it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it on pre-sales or something like that. Well, that would be cool.
We've thought about that. There's lots of things we're thinking about at the moment, because we are a new band, and it's like, do we release it as physical at the moment, or should we just crowdfund that bit afterwards? Or, we're having a lot of discussions about it. We've got all the artwork. All the artwork's done. It looks great. It's just, and I'm actually designing the CD at the moment with a friend of mine. We've got the artwork, but he's putting it all together for us, just so it's kind of just ready to go. Like we're like, oh, there is a demand, quick print, we can do that. But it's it's a funny one.
It's a costly experience.
It's an interesting question. Sorry,
it's a costly experience doing physical product now, especially in the times we live in, where people are a bit more wary about buying physical product.
Yeah, it's a funny one, really. It's a chance taker, isn't it? It's just one of those things. But it kind of, it's a need thing. You do need to do it, but really only if we're not gigging yet, and until you get gigs, you want them to sell at gigs. So it's like, I was chatting with Rod about that, and he was like, it's probably better just to wait until we get a run of shows or a bunch of gigs, and then print a load off. Then I was like, that's a good idea. Do it like that, because there's no point in sticking it in a shop, because we can do, I guess, but I'd rather sort of just sell it online, and get people in and set up a shop and just post them to people.
Which is easier to do via your own website these days, on things like Shopify and stuff like that. It's easier to sort out. So you touched on Inglorious a couple of times. Let's address this. You used to be a part of it. I did ask how, if we could talk about this. You were cool with this. You were part of
Yeah.
Inglorious, man, which, and they've gone on
Yeah.
to be quite a well-known band, and Nathan's gone on to do things like War of the Worlds with Jeff Wayne and stuff like that. What happened?
What? Why did I leave? Why did we leave?
Well, just what happened? Just tell us a bit more about it.
What happened?
With the band in general, I know you toured Europe.
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. So in my when I was in the band, we got to play some awesome stuff. Like supported Steel Panther. Did a run of shows with them in the UK. Got to play Hammersmith, Odin, as you do. I always call it Odin. I don't know. Do you call it Odin or Apollo?
It's the Odeon. It's always the Odeon.
It's the Odin, yeah. I got to, I got to tick off a lot of bucket list dreams with it. Of some of those shows, even if they were just sort of opening Download Festival main stage.
Nice.
Never been to Download in my life. The only time I've ever been is to open the main stage.
That's the way it should be.
And that's the way, yeah. But what an experience! So I will never take that away from him or anything like that. Like from the whole what happened afterwards. It's always grateful for that. It's from I was there when he said I'm going to call the band Inglorious. I remember I was in the kitchen with him, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool, wicked. Not sure what it means, but we'll go with that. But it was great. It was great. It was 2 years of my life, and I got to do a record and record it in a nice studio and get it mixed by professional people. Like Kev Shirley mixed it. He does all the Maiden stuff and things like that.
Right.
And I got to tour the world. Well, I say the world, more like Europe. And I got to see Europe in the back of a van. Always fun.
Always.
And but the festivals for me were the ones I really enjoyed. They were amazing. Not just Download, but playing things like Hellfest in France and I don't know, Grasshopper. All these festivals that people don't know about. They're just these massive festivals like Download, but bigger again. They've got like 2 main stages right next to each other.
What sort of numbers are we talking about?
Oh, when we played Hellfest, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning and there was still 20,000 people there. So it was that was pretty cool. But we weren't like, that was probably more just curious people because the band wasn't a known entity in Europe. It was a little bit in certain areas, like we played France and that did really well and bits of Germany and stuff like Munich and things. But play Switzerland, there's like 10 people,
Right.
It's bigger in the UK. It's not really established in Europe.
Good
it's a little bit,
gigs.
ever so slightly, but And actually, the first gig I ever did with the band was the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Oh wow,
that was interesting.
Is that Donington?
Because I've never experienced. That was quite nerve wracking, but I'd never experienced anything like that before. That was just like playing all these bands, and then you're just like, oh wow, look, it's Kit Winger, or like all these like 80s icons. And you're just going, wow, but like just walk around the boat, you're like, oh look, it's Red Beach, cool, right. Oh, do you know like bands like Striper and all that? Yeah, man. It was all just like bands like that. And Tom Kiefer from Cinderella. He's like, oh look, it's Tom Kiefer just having a sandwich, And it's just weird stuff like that. And you just yeah, but I know you joke, but it is that kind of thing where you're like, oh look, I remember him when I was a kid because I was really heavily into the 80s stuff when I was younger because I got a brother who's is older. So it was only like later on we got into the grunge and stuff. So. Yes, it was a great experience, and I that's all I'll say. You can't, it was just the internal workings that were the problem. Like every other bloody band in the world,
every band has politics, man.
Every band has problems, and there are reasons, and I think people know why. Maybe I don't know, but there was a bit of drama afterwards by a certain member, but. It was just, it couldn't continue. Unfortunately, it just couldn't continue the way it was being run by Nath. Unfortunately, we just couldn't. You can't. You just can't do that. You just can't be like that to people.
There was a lot of pressure, wasn't there?
What pressure to what?
To perform in certain ways and do certain things.
Yeah, it's all a bit like you'll wear what I say you're going to wear. And it's all very controlling and it was just not really what I wanted. Not really what any of us wanted, especially like because the bass player's like writing all the songs,
right?
And it's like, well, hang on a minute, like You know, it's weird. It's like there was a lot. It's just a lot of politics involved with that kind of stuff, and you know, look again. I've said this a million times. Like I've done these conversations before. He's an amazing singer.
Oh,
Probably one of the best singers in the world.
Fantastic voice, no doubt about it.
And he's smart, like in terms of like Hannah do the band thing. Like he's grown the band. I admire anyone that can do that because I know how hard it is. You know, to start somewhere from scratch and build it from nothing. You know, we'll say from scratch. Like he was kind of a semi-known name, I guess, but he had done some things. But just to take a band and just drive it like that and just drive it forward, you know, I have the utmost admiration for that.
But I mean, you know, for all the negatives of it, you know, it has actually inspired you to go and do the same, hasn't it? And that's where really Just a Ride has come from in some ways.
It's like just go and lead your own band, you know what I mean? Just go and do that. But the negatives, unfortunately, were just too high. You know, you just can't. You just got to weigh it up. And you just think, is this going to be long term? Is this going to be worth it? In the end, you know, not really. You know, so. But I wish him well, and I wish all the guys well in the band. They're great. They got a new album out, so it's like, well, more power to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, go for it. You know,
especially over this time when it's been hard to get anything out.
Absolutely.
So come on, let's have a Just a Ride song.
Let's talk about Just a Ride now. It's enough about my old band.
Let's have some Just a Ride, and then we'll come back and we'll.
What are we going to go with? Which song?
Well, I thought I Want to Know. That's one of the early ones, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Do you want me to talk about it first, or do you want?
Yeah, I was going to say let's have a bit of talk about I Want to Know, and then we'll move on and we can play that, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of the new album and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, wicked. So this track we released last year, just before the pandemic, or actually was it in the pandemic? I don't know. I can't remember now. It was this time. It was last year, and you know, we got our PR guy to he was like, "You just got to stick this out," because I sort of ended up. It was like because when I started the band, I ended up kind of funding it at the start myself, and I just sort of paid for the recordings and the videos. And I just kind of, this is like, we recorded 2 songs at the time. And I was like, I want to do a video for this song, this I Want to Know video. And we did it all. And it came out great. Like everything about it was just everything I wanted from a song. It was easily written. It was just a riff I wrote like years ago. And I just made a demo, sent it to Rod. He wrote all these melodies all over it, and the song was done. It was I don't think we barely changed a thing. I've still got the original demo somewhere. So that's the one I'm most proud of in terms of like ease of it for it to get together. And it was great, you know, and it came out heavy and melodic, and you know, it's just like, that's what I want. You know, that's if I was going to sum up the band, that song would hit it pretty on the mark.
Well, it sounds like a good one to start with as an introduction. Then,
yeah, let's go with it.
Let's do it. All right, so this is I Want to Know by Just a Ride. What you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen.
Won't you tell me what you wanted to say?
And that was I Want to Know, Just to Ride, man. Sounding awesome. And lots of comments in the chat room there.
Dude.
Lots of people in the chat room saying it's got a definite Velvet Revolver vibe to it.
Yeah, I was kind of going more STP, but yeah, you know, take a potato on that one, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Scott Weiland, isn't it? You know, it's that type of thing. You know, Rod's got that voice. You know, he's got that really cool. Don't know, just that grit in his voice. You know,
Do you remember a band called Love Hate?
You're saying Jizzy Pearl, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elements of that there as well.
The fourth person that said that.
Is that a positive thing? I think it's a positive thing.
I think so. I'm not really listening to him.
Yeah,
So,
no, Love
and
Hate,
it's a
Black
bit-
Hat in a Red Room, stuff like that. The guy's got a great voice, and
Oh,
elements
I
of
think
that
he's still
in
touring,
his
isn't he?
voice there.
He's still doing a lot of touring and stuff. But yeah, no, Rod's voice is great. He's yeah, it's brilliant. Really, there's no one really out there that sort of sounds. It's very unique. So that's why I sort of really. Oh, camera's going a bit rubbish.
Yeah, bit of a Wi-Fi patch, or we'll
Maybe,
carry on.
I don't
We
know.
can still hear you.
Okay, that's all right then. That's fine. Yeah, Rod's voice is it's fantastic. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. It's perfect for the band. You know.
And so's the guitar riffs, man. I mean, stonking
Thank
riff
you.
there.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah,
thinking
I
you're the
wrote that riff when
guitarist.
I wrote that riff when I was 19 years ago, and I just left it. I just stayed bubbling away for about 15 years. You know, I was like, oh, maybe I could do something with this riff. You know.
Is that all? Are you writing in drop D?
Yeah, that one is. Not everything's in drop D. Some of it's in standard. You know, really depends on the song.
Do you do the
When we
Alice
play
in Chains
live,
thing
when
and
we
do
play-
the drop C
when
thing?
when we play live, we play in all E flat, and then we drop D. You know.
Right. So you tune down
just
to E
easy.
flat and then drop D. So yeah, okay. Wow. Okay. So that's a really nice thick sound.
Ah, thank you. It was layered about 3 times. So-
What are you playing on there? For all the
You know what?
guitar nerds out there.
Yeah, do you know what? That's all digital. That's guitar rig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which on the album I didn't do. I used my real amp.
So what guitar are you
Right.
playing?
Oh, actual guitar on that one. Actually, it's not. I haven't got it here. It's been refretted at the moment. It's my black Strat.
Right. Okay.
Well
That's a
done,
Strat.
Strat and a humbucker. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It's definitely got a sort of.
Humbucker Strat sound just as beefy as Les Pauls. If you got, you know.
It's got
I
that
just think that-
Gibson Les Paul Marshall sound behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All that stuff. It's just nonsense. All that kind of Les Pauls sound better, and I haven't got time for it.
It's not a case of I think you choose the amp sounds and the guitar sounds for the song,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
and as long as it
It's
works.
still kind of classic, big distortion, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. You know,
So what
really
amps
good
do you
fun.
normally use then?
Marshall.
You're a
So
Marshall
I got
man.
a Marshall DSL. Yeah, that's all I use on the record. A Marshall DSL and a Tube Screamer. Boring, you know. But
No. I think we've seen a lot of guitarists. You know, we've had several chats about this with guitarists turning up with like so many effects on a pedal board and massive
time.
amps. And as they sort of go through the gig stage, the amps get smaller and so does the pedal board.
yeah, you know what? I'm on amp modeling at the moment for
Right.
a lot of stuff.
Well, so what do
Right,
you use?
especially-
Line 6 or?
No, I've got something called the Atomic Amplifier. That's what I use.
Okay. There you go. Tips and
And
tricks,
we-
ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. The reason I got that is because it's small and lightweight, but also it's I got it because when I went to see Steel Panther, that's all he had, and I thought he's one of the greatest guitarists ever. And they were all on in-ears and stuff like this, and it was like the sound was huge. I didn't realize how far. I was always against digital, and I hadn't realized how far it had all come, quite frankly.
So Wispy wants to know what's your preferred guitar.
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, live, I use a HSS Strat. I'll show him if you want. I've got some
Yeah.
here. I've been practicing the Culture Club stuff. So I've been jamming it today. Essentially, my black Strat is just that. You know,
Very nice.
one of those. But this is just and me and my mate put this one together. This is like my backup, but I like it a lot. Actually, it's really, really nice. You know, but essentially, it's just a HSS Strat. You know, it's really, really easy. It sounds big, Seymour Duncan, so it sounds really, really good. Okay, but I mean, I've got all sorts. You know, I've got. This is a new one. I'm going to advertise Pete's guitar. This is a total Charvel. I love my old Charvels from the 80s, and this is a based on a Charvel. It's built by a chap called Pete Lewis.
Right.
He's awesome. Lewis Guitars, check him out. And he built this for me, and this is like a single humbucker Floyd Rose type of machine, based on a massive Richie Sambora fan. It's based on one of his guitars from the Slip Around Wet tour.
Okay, we've got another Mr. Andy Bradley in the chat room. He's another Sambora fan as well, so he'll be loving a bit of that.
Okay, cool, wicked, nice, yeah. So it's based on one from the Jersey tour, I think. So that's more recent, but my most practical working guitars are my Strats.
Right. I like to see they're beat up and still got the scars on them as well. You don't.
Well, that's a fake beat up one, but my black one is one's a Japanese Strat, and that's my favorite thing ever.
Okay.
It's great. And I've just had it refretted. It's the first ever refret it's ever had.
How old is that then?
30 years. Oh, late 80s.
It probably deserves a refret by now then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, come on, let's have another Just the Ride track. And then I want to come and talk about the Culture Club stuff a little bit as well.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
And obviously what we do want to find out is where people can find out a bit more about Just the Ride. So why don't you give everyone website addresses and social media plugs and bits and pieces?
Sure, yeah. If you just go on the website, I mean, the website will take you to everything anyway, all the links. So it's www.justtherideband.com. And all it is just a holding page, but with all the links. But if you can't bother to that, you just want to go straight to the links. We're quite a heavy Instagram band, I would say. You got to choose your media, so it's just the right band at just the right band. We are on Twitter. I'm sort of the holder of Twitter. Like Rod, the singer, does all the Instagram stuff. He's amazing. He's been really kind of active with it. But Twitter is tough. I find that a bit weird, but definitely on Instagram you can really reach a huge audience. You know,
it's amazing. You want to get on TikTok, mate?
Well, I think we might have to. That's the next one, isn't it? And before you know it, you're just like, you know.
Can you do a weird dance?
No.
I wasn't going to ask you to show us, but I mean, if you can.
I was going to say, like right now? Or?
No. But you know, if you can, you're good for TikTok. It's fine. It seems to be how it works on there. So, you know, you've sent me over 2 new tracks from the new album. What would you like me to play first?
Well, do you want to play our new single first? Because I think that'd be good. So we've just released a single, came out 10 days ago. It's called Time Is Running Out. And reason I like this one. This is the first one that of the mixes where so we got a chap called Chris Sheldon to mix the album. And he worked with the Foo Fighters and Feeder, and he's done all sorts. British guy, just top bloke, absolutely amazing. Mixed some fine records. So he's mixed the whole record. So he's kind of remixed I Want to Know. He's just it sounds the same really, but it's just added his kind of twist on it, which is quite nice.
Nice.
So the whole album's mixed by him, and it sounds really good. And he remixed Razor. So the Razor, the next track that will play as well. That's mixed by a chap called Mark Roberts, who's amazing, but unfortunately he just couldn't finish the record, so we ended up getting Chris Sheldon. But sorry, going back to Time Is Running Out, this one's great because this is the first of the Chris Sheldon mixes, so I'm really, really, really excited to get this one out because it sounds really, really cool.
Awesome. Well, let's have a listen now. So this is Just a Ride with Time Is Running Out. Enjoy.
Can't contain the things I see. No more silence.
And everyone's again loving that in the chat room. They're all going to be busy tomorrow looking up Just a Ride by the looks of it.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad people like that. That one came out great. I like that song. It's one of those tracks. I love the melodies. I love what Rod did with it. Really, it was because it started off as just a riff. It's actually started from a different song. It was like a riff, and then it was like a. We did this weird. I was trying to write some weird Faith No More style bossa thing, and it was like, no, this isn't working. I've got the version of it somewhere, and we just left it for ages. And then we were like, right, let's just try and write a song like this. And I remember it was one of the first ones that we wrote when Rush joined the band. Like, we got a new bass player because the bass player, if you watch the video to I Want to Know, he's got a different bass player.
Right.
And he left because he had to go back to Brazil. It was really a shame. So he's a really good friend of ours. But Russ joined. And that was one of the first ones I think we worked on. And he was like, right, we got to finish this. Let's try and finish this song. I was like, yeah, all right, that's cool. And I can't really remember how we did it, but it was trying to piece it all together and get it to fit together. We were like, it was there was a couple of like, oh, is this going to work or not? And then it took a while, but we got it, we got the structure, and we got it together. I was like, now when I listen to it, it's like, yeah, that's good.
In a lot of rock tracks, the bass is. I'm going to use the word unimportant. Sorry, bass players. I don't mean that to be unkind, but it kind of sits in the back holding things together. But the bass on that was prominent, and the tone was awesome. He's got a slightly overdriven sound, and it really, really did underline everything else the guitar was doing.
The constant battle with us, Oh, my bass louder. No,
that's every bass player.
Yeah, I know, it's fine. It's about having a balance. Not all the tracks are like that. It's just because like things like in the verse, it's got that nice kind of the back. It's a feature, so it needs to kind of come out and stuff, So yeah, no, it's cool. And because they're quite, I don't want the bass to be lost. It's still got to be. It's just as part of the record. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of records come out, and you're just like, "Where's your bass?"
Yeah, it's amazing getting the bass level right, and it's something I struggle with in a home studio because I'm not, set up.
Well, that's the difference between a pro production and non is the bass. It's the bass consistency. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to get right. It
can underline the whole song though, and a good bass line really, it needs to be there, but not necessarily in your face. But you just got to sit right, and that worked perfectly. It was brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
So you've just described quite a chaotic kind of writing situation there with that track. But how does it generally work with you? Do you come up with a riff? Do you come up with a song idea with different parts?
Yeah, on this record, it's predominantly my riffs, and songs, but. When Russ sort of joins, because he sort of came in a bit later, he started adding in his sort of flavors and stuff like that to it. So tracks like that, like it's my riff, but I think Russ sort of came in with the verse. Like we were trying to sort of hammer out a verse and things like, and then we sort of worked together on it. But like when the band first started, it will start with, my riffs predominantly, or sometimes I write a whole song, and just without vocals, and I'll just send them to Rod. It's just.
Are you not a bit of a secret singer in the background?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you just sort of learn how to construct songs. It takes a while, but you kind of, even if my melodies aren't what Rod might be thinking, at least I've sort of got an awareness of like, oh, that's the verse and that's the chorus, and this is going to be the structure of the song, and this is basically how it's going to work. And then generally from that, like Rod can put it together.
So you try and present Rod with an almost finished arrangement sort of thing.
Yes, completely. Yeah, like 9 times out of 10, it's a completed song, like a backing track for Rod to kind of sing on, because that's what he needs. He needs to be able to add melodies. I've never had Rod sort of come in and go, "I've got this vocal melody. Can you record a song around it, please?" But he started to like write. He writes like all on his own as well, and he started to send some songs through. So it's like, oh, brilliant, cool, So I think everyone for the next record, if we do, which would be lovely, will bring more to the table rather than at first it was just me essentially. Just go, here's a bunch of songs, and then Rod would sing on them. And it's just taken a different thing now, you know, because people, you know, things. So as we're writing, you know, sometimes I'll do writing sessions with Russ over Zoom
Cool.
and things like that.
You not
So
managed to sort of find any of these situations where you can actually do live jamming? I know we tried quite a few.
Well, we managed to record the album when the first lockdown kind of came up, like when we sort of came out of it last year in October.
Yeah.
We sort of recorded it then, and then we had some problems with the mixing and things like that from that engineer, and then we, you know, it just took a while to find the right guy to mix it, you know, and then we got obviously Chris involved, so it was all good. And actually, like, we did sort of we tracked it all there, and then I got all the files back, and I wasn't really happy with the playing and some of the singing and some of the, you know, bits and bobs like that. So I was like, we just redid loads of stuff. I redid all my guitars here, just literally sat here, and then I went to my friend's studio, and we reamped everything.
Okay.
You know, and that's where you basically just take the signal and just reamp it all, you know, and re-record it all, you know.
Very nice.
Quite a good way of doing it. Yeah, take the DI and then you whack it back through the amp, you know.
So you've been recording literally a dry DI and then amping everything on the computers, so you can do that as much as you want to.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was going to use an amp simulator, and then I just was like, you know what? Chris was like, can you reamp your guitars? They just sound better. Like, as much as you want to kind of sit there going like, they don't. Reamp guitars just sound better.
And once
like real amps just sound. Most people won't know. Like, it's, to be honest, technology is so good now, you wouldn't really know. But
this is it.
But it's yeah, reamping is
And you know.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah, totally. When you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah. It's like, actually, a producer friend of mine was like, it's like 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional, you know. It's the difference between that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of it. That's probably just bollocks, and I'm just talking out my ass really with that stuff. But I can sort of notice it. You know?
Look, the technology has come on so much. I mean, especially with the guitar amps and drum sounds and stuff like that. But nothing beats the real thing still. Don't get me wrong, it will do eventually. The technology will catch up and it will. I mean,
it's already there. Like drums, you already trigger drums, and that's been going for years anyway. Like, you know, where you replace the kit, you know, and things like that. So, yeah, it's interesting. Definitely interesting.
Look, it's 10 o'clock, man.
I know. We've just been talking. I'm like, oh my god, yeah.
It's fantastic. This is what this is all about.
We haven't talked about Culture Club. Do you want to
I was going to say, let's talk about a bit. That's what I was going to say. Let's talk a bit about Culture Club, because you're getting back in rehearsals soon.
Yeah, so a bunch of shows were announced this year for the summer outdoors for Culture Club. So I got the opportunity to join them at Christmas. I got to play Wembley with them.
Wow!
And that was really, really cool. And it was an empty Wembley arena, but it was still Wembley. You know?
Wembley Odeon,
still counts. Sorry,
Wembley Odeon, not Apollo.
Wembley Odeon, yeah, that was it. And so he's just announced a bunch of shows, outdoor shows, and then yeah, it's really cool. And so I've got my board down here, I've got my stuff, and I'm getting into the practicing. I've got to learn another 12 songs for 2 weeks' time, and then it's great. And they're the fun ones because I get to play the big crowds, you know. And also it's my bread and butter, that one. You know
how much is the difference is that going from sort of? I mean, because I'm imagining that. I mean, I don't know a lot of Culture Club's numbers. Obviously, everyone knows Calm Chameleon, but I'd imagine it's a lot more clean guitar and sort of funkier riffs.
Funkier,
yeah,
funkier, and it's a lot more eclectic because he's got such a vast catalogue. So you have to kind of be prepared to play a lot of different styles, but predominantly it's funk and funk and like reggae, skank a bit more.
Yeah,
and it's different. Obviously, I'm a rocker, but I've always had, like, you know, you still got to have good rhythm. Do you know what I mean? Like, for all this stuff, and it teaches you learning these different styles, like how to play like that and how to, and it can only add to your playing. Do you know what I mean? It can only, because I do a lot of session work and stuff like that, it can only add to your playing, be able to play like styles like that.
I mean, is it a style you enjoy playing, or is it, as you said, it's your bread and butter?
Yeah,
I know you love the 80s, but you know,
It is. It's different. It's the funk stuff because I can get a bit Steve Lukather about it. You know, I just kind of picture that. You know, I just go, oh, what? Or Prince. Prince is a great example.
Yeah.
Of having just great rhythm and bringing a great songwriter. He's like the whole package. You know, so I kind of just channel my inner Prince. You know. Get on my knees and start sliding across the stage in Cuban Hills. No, I'm not going to do that.
I don't think Boy George would be too happy about that.
No. But in all honesty, it's an amazing gig to have in a world where being an original artist is just nigh on impossible. You know.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not expecting to make some kind of like multi-million. You know. Obviously, I want to. Like when people go, like, "What are your goals for Just a Ride?" It's like I want to conquer the world, and
I want to be the next Foo Fighters. Yeah,
of course. If you don't think like that, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to think like that and be rooting for it. But I'm also very aware of how the business works and how it's set up. You know.
Have you reached that point in your career? I mean, I know I certainly did. I'd done 10 years with Frequency and trying to sort of, you know, doing all the shit gigs up in London, the radio shows and bits and pieces like that. And then I'd done a couple of years with a publishing deal with 8 Month Malfunction. And it got to a point where I just kind of went, do you know what? I just want to enjoy the music again. I just want to enjoy it again.
That.
Do you know what I mean?
I did all that and then I came sort of back round again.
Yeah.
Because I'm 38, do you know what I mean? But through my 20s, yeah, certainly there was a lot of things I should have done differently. But maybe that just sort of makes you appreciate it a little bit more, you know. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, just I don't know. Just I think that's why I've done Just a Ride, is because that's my kind of. I just want to love it. I just want to love music.
And it doesn't really matter if you don't make it quite big, as long as it's getting out there and being heard by someone.
But you should always try. You know,
totally. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like. Or anyone that says that goes like, oh, it's for me. I'm not really that fast. It's just full of it. It's just, you're all there to kind of go forward, play in front of crowds and have a great time and build something, you know, and I think over this time, you want people, you know, even now I'm getting people going, wow, great song. And it just makes me go, you know, that's the drug, you know, there is people going, you know, so.
It's getting, you know, I write a lot of songs, or not so much these days, but I used to write a lot of songs and I've got a hard drive full of them that people don't hear. So over this time in lockdown, we've taken a chance to get something out on Spotify, get some songs up, and just getting a bit of feedback makes it all worth it.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But you just want the nice feedback, not the bad feedback. It's all constructive, I know. But
you can't please everyone all the time and all that business.
No, you can't. And that's the thing, you can't. You just got to do the thing you love. And I think that kind of spills out, you know, like if you love it and that's the thing you want to do, people will take notice, you know.
Yes. And, you know, there is an element of it's a difficult one. You know, in a covers band, you always play to your audience. You're not there to play covers for yourself. You're there to play covers for a pub band or a pub audience on a Friday or Saturday night. And you're going to play songs that they want to hear because that's what the pub are booking you for. An original band is totally different. You know, you're writing music that, you know, it's one of two ways. You're writing music purely commercially to try and get a hit record, or you're writing music that you want to write and that you want people to hear.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, between doing that and then I know what you mean. I mean, don't get me wrong, like even with like the tracks that we did on this album, like, you know, it's been through the refining machine. Yeah. You know, like, you know, we do have those conversations like, oh, maybe the verse should come in there, or like, you know, maybe the verse doesn't come in quick enough. Maybe the chorus can't. I think Time Is Running Out is good, and we always, it's like 3 minutes 20. I'm like, oh, perfect, that's a great length for a song, you know. And it's just
single length,
single length, you know. And it's like, well, maybe that's why it worked. Where like the next song or whatever, Razor, if you got time, you probably won't know, but
yeah, we'll play out. It's fine.
Is, you know, it's like 4 minutes something, and I think maybe people just probably get bored by like, you know, there's one song on the record called No Way Out, and we've been trimming it down, and it's still 5 minutes. We can't figure out why. We're just like
one guitar solo too many, Drew.
Maybe.
Mate, look, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you today.
Thank you. It's been great to chat.
And it's nice. I mean, the response we're getting in the chat room for your music is fantastic, and that's what it's all about: sharing new music over this time, and
sharing new music and people getting involved with it. You know.
So, when's the album out?
Well, we're saying September, at the moment. Maybe October. We've sort of said September. You know, that's what we've said, and it's looking that way. And we're going to just continue to release singles like this every 6 weeks.
Wow.
So there's going to be a lot of. There's going to be a big part of the album's going to be released before maybe 6 or 7 songs, maybe 6. Half the album's going to be released before we. Just because, again, we live in that world and we're a new band. You know, you can't do that whole kind of 2 singles album, another single. It's like it works if you're like some mega band, but if you're just totally independent, people need to know who you are. So you've got to kind of always release songs consistently.
Yep.
You can't have dips, so you've got to keep it going. You know, so we're on a bit of a machine at the moment. So it's going to be going along, and it's it's going to be pretty mad. But
Time is Running Out is out now, right?
Time is Running Out is out now, and the next single is going to be out in another sort of 5-6 weeks.
And these are all available on the usual Amazon, Apple, iTunes, Spotify.
They're just digital release singles that are part of the record, and then we'll release the whole album, and hopefully people want to buy it as a piece of art.
Yeah, fantastic. And I will encourage people, and if you don't mind, I will play some more of these songs on some of the other shows, some of the stuff that you sent me today, and we'll encourage a few more people to sort of buy your music and go and listen.
Absolutely, I would love it.
Mate, before we go, any shout-outs, anything you want to sort of say to people before we leave?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, I just want to say, like, massive sort of thanks to, like, you know, our PR guys. We've got a couple of PR guys. We've got Nikki Smash PR, who's in a band called the Rocket Dolls, who actually put me on to Chris Sheldon.
Cool.
For the mixing, so that was really cool. And his assistant, Isha, she's been amazing. And John Lewis Jones, our other PR guy as well, he's been fantastic too, you know. So just sort of, and just to people, and just to everyone who has liked it so far, really, that's all I can ask. You know, anyone who's invested themselves in it. You know, we've already got a couple of super fans, as you call it, and I love it because they're the ones, you know, who buy your music and buy into you, and it's fantastic. You know.
Well, I think you might have earned a couple more tonight. There's a lot of people saying they're checking you out tomorrow. They're happy they've got some new music to listen to.
Yeah, get involved. You know, just keep building this thing, and hopefully we'll get to gigs soon. You know, at some point. You know, which would be nice. And
hopefully when we get back to Bumbles, you'll come down and have a beer with us and bring Kate with you and get up and do a couple of numbers.
Absolutely. Bring the wife along. Totally.
Bring the wife along.
She'll love it.
Mate, thank you so much. Guys, let me just do a quick rundown. If you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Radio FreakJam. All caffeine is highly appreciated. It really is. Or you can buy some of our wonderful merch, like the We Are Jamley t-shirts we've got here at freakjam.b4brand.co.uk. We've got the Jam Night Thursday. I haven't got a co-host yet. I'm working on it. Just bear with me. Something will happen. Don't know what's happening.
I was too scared to do that. So we'll come on to that. We'll have a conversation.
Well, now we've done this, we can talk about getting you on for a
We'll
Thursday.
talk about it. I feel a lot more confident now.
Yeah, it'll be wicked. It'll be a lot of fun. Saturday, I don't know what's going on down Bumbles, to be honest. If there's not a band on, I'll look at putting a Zoom on or a quiz on or something. I know a lot of you've been asking for that, so we can do that instead. Next Monday, I haven't got a plan for that, but I'm thinking there's been a lot of calls for a call-in show. I don't know how that's going to work, Drew. That could get messy with just random people dialing in and talking to me.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
That goes.
So I'm thinking about doing that. But what I think, Drew, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Before we go, we're going to play Razor. Do you want to give us a quick lowdown on that? Just a quick rundown.
Yeah, so Razor was the second single that we released. And that came out about 8-9 weeks ago, I think it was. It was kind of the first one after the lockdown stuff. And Richard, okay. And it's just big riff again, you know. It's a bit lighter than the other. It's not so like maybe as heavy, but I like it. It's a good song. You know, it's one of our faves. You know.
Wicked. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Drew, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you very much.
We will see you Thursday. I'll see you Wednesday with the Lunchtime Live. I'm going to do it. I'll be here. I'll do your Lunchtime Live, and I'll probably play one of Drew's songs as well, just to remind you. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much.
This is Razor by Just a Ride. See you later. Say bye, Drew.
Cheers. Bye.